Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a very busy summer. I've been doing a lot of outdoor projects. A friend of mine said, hey, why aren't you putting the outdoor projects onto your YouTube? So here we are. This is the fence project I've been working on. We're just going to do a little overview of how I did this. Keep in mind, in my area, permitting on fences 7 feet or lower is not necessary. So where you're at, what I'm showing may not be permittable or even sensible. As far as posts go, as you can see, I'm just using some of this 1.5 inch well pipe I've had laying around for years, driving them into the ground 48 inches. I've got some other properties with fences like this with wooden posts that have simply rotted off. Here you can see I did a little bump out to deal with the fact that I've got some big trees. There you can see fairly long fence. So to get location for the posts, what I've been doing is taking the cross members, setting one in place, figuring out where this guy ends, and then just driving the post. Just got a standard steel post driver. Have yourself a magnetic torpedo level. Very, very handy. Get this guy in place. As you can see, I'm using my cross member as a guide. I've got it sitting on this little lump of 2x4. We get it kind of centered on that. I've got a string line that I ran the length of this project right there. I don't recommend standing on a pail to drive the post. It's not exactly safe. Let's get this sucker running the ground. We'll be right back. So we got this guy in the ground. Not quite perfect. You can do a little bit of adjustment to get these guys where you would like them to be. Fairly close anyway. And it's a good idea when you're driving the post, maybe throw in some earplugs, get some. Alrighty, next step is we're going to fasten this upright that the cross members are going to screw to. Using these little brackets, I got these off Amazon. I'll be posting links to most of the stuff. Just kind of take a look at where 2x4 cross member ends there. First one, I use a total of 4. First one goes on the top. See, leaving that 2x4 spacer on the ground to get it just a touch off the ground. Use our little torpedo level again, using these little 1.25 inch screws here. The top one goes in with 1.25 inch. I'll add 3 more going into the cross members with 2.5 inch screws to kind of tie the whole works together. Next, I'm going to mark the bottoms of where our cross members go. 3.5, 28.5, and 50.5. These are kind of similar spacings to the panels you can buy at your home centers. And they're also just a bit random. As I'm working alone on this project, to set my cross members, I marked the bottom with the, and we're just going to set some screws in place here at those marks. Luckily, we're just building a fence and not some fine furniture or shooting a rocket to the moon. As you can see here, we've got the cross members sitting on those screws. Our post on this end is nice, straight up and down. I have a tendency to screw into this wood. It'll set back a little bit and there's not enough non-threaded portion on the screws to properly draw it in. So I like to do a little pre-drill. Our pre-drilling is all done. Now we just need to go to work, screw the rest together, pull down my marker. The ground isn't here level, so the ground here is not level. That's why I'm kind of piecing everything together. And then the battery dies. Alrighty. Fresh battery. Alrighty, and to kind of tie everything together, we've got some more of these little guys. I'm going to use a 2.5-inch screw to tie the post, all this together, and hopefully make it long-lasting and not in need of much maintenance in the future. Maybe overkill, but I'll add one of these 2-hole straps to each location on the metal pole where it intersects with a cross member. As you can see here, we ended up with the cross members lapping over the end a little bit. I'll just give those a little trim with the Sawzall. I had quite a bit of scrap material floating around, so just for fun, I decided I'm going to make some little corner bracey thingies here. Are they necessary? Likely not. Will they do anything constructive? I think they look cool. All of our cross members and uprights on the end here is done. And unfortunately, as you can see, alone, much more wiggly than I had hoped. So, fortunately, I've got a buttload of these old T-posts, and we're using these as kind of flying buttresses, so to speak. Post. So earlier I got these little cross member jobbies. These are cut at 22.5 degrees, I believe what it is, which ends up giving us a nice solid fence. So cross members are 1 foot long. I have been measuring back. I set these guys back about 8 inches from the wooden upright. Earplugs, gloves, not a bad idea. Put these guys into place. The lower one generally put right here on the first cross member. And the second one I had been putting here, but it doesn't always work out correctly. We'll get this guy screwed into place here. Okay, that's all where it needs to be. Next, we're going to grab a clamp. So the fence is tipping out just a bit, so we're using one of these handy clamps, using that guy to pull the T-post and our upright here together to get us to level. Which is right there. Well, I've got a low battery, so we better get this thing rolling. We'll drill some holes for our U-bolts. They're 5/16, so I've got 3/8 bit in here. We got the first hole drilled, so we'll take one of these U-bolts. These are 1 3/4 by 5/16 by 4 inches. Hold everything where we want it to end up here. pretty fast and loose, but we'll drill a couple more holes. Work that guy through. Comes with that handy little plate thingy. Gonna add some lock washers. Use our impact. Being as wood expands and contracts and all sort of business like that, I like to do a double locking nut setup here. With any luck, that'll keep everything nicely in place. Release our clamp. Done with that fella. And then we trim these guys flush with the Sawzall. Everything is tightened down in place. We've got our snazzy flying buttresses supporting everything here. We've got our T-post, little weld pipe. Everything is got all our 2-hole straps in place. Nice and solid. Now it's time to put on some pickets. Well, we're putting our pickets on the fence. You don't necessarily need this 4th cross member on the bottom, but I've had a lot of these fences where the bottom, you get moisture coming up from the ground and stuff, and they distort, and I don't like the way that looks, so I added a 4th cross member. Putting up pickets is tedious and such, but you know, it's all part of the fun. I use this bottom 4th cross member as kind of a guide, so the fence follows the contour of what we got going on here for our landscape. I'll put a picket in place, keep my level handy. I want all the pickets to be up and down, nice and pretty, and that one is. And throw another screw on the ground. I like to put 6 pickets into place with 1 row of screws. When I get that 1 row of screws in place, then I'll work outward from there and then put on another 6 pickets. If you've made it this far into the video, you're awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Like and follow and whatever else business you want to do. Thank you. Talk to you later.